Hello, my name is Karim Matef, and I am the curator of the InstaFame Phantom Art Collection. I'm going to be announcing a new edition of the New York City Transit Exhibition Catalog, InstaFame Phantom Art Volume 1, the NIC 707 collection. And I have the two versions that will be available in front of me right now. This is the original version, which I'm calling the premium color version, but the new version is going to be called the standard color edition. There are differences between the two, and especially in price. That's why I want to go over it. This is also a video which will show differences in print processes. This is an Amazon print process that's known as standard color, and it's a way to cost reduce print-on-demand materials. And the original version is what they call a premium color, which has more on a glossy paper with richer and deeper blacks. But I'd like to show you both under the same lighting conditions to give you an idea of what they both look like. And both will be made available. There is going to be a substantial difference in price. This one is going to be sold for $34.99. This one's going to be sold for $19.99. So let's go over it. For those that aren't familiar with InstaFame Phantom Art, it's a project that was started by my brother, Fernando Mitef. He's known as NIC 707, and he was a graffiti writer from the early 70s. And he came back in the 2000s to create a new paradigm for graffiti, where he placed it in the ad spaces and the receptacles that you'd see on the New York City transit system. And he would go around with his works and with the works of other artists and collaborations and place them on the trains. And he did this for over 10 years, unabated, and hundreds of different works were created. And this particular book covers not only his early stories as a graffiti writer, but also the early years of the project when he started putting it all together. He did pass away in 2020 from COVID, so this became a book that was going to keep his legacy alive and also demonstrate the historical value of what he had done. You know, so many other graffiti writers have been involved. There's certainly older ones, newer ones, and also artists from different genres participated over the 10-year period. So what I'm showing you now is the original version. It has a glossy type of paper, and it's a very colorful book. It's around 217 pages. I'm just going through it. But the first portion of it covers, his stories. There's a bit more text, and it goes over early stories with him and his friends and other writers, and also starts moving into the era where he developed the InstaFame Phantom Art Project and the stories behind that. So you can see his work was very colorful, definitely in the genre of what was known as the early graffiti art. And he also evolved. This particular book covers 2009 to 2013, but he went on to 2020, and also in the later years, as I'd mentioned, he involved other artists, particularly other graffiti artists, but he also reached out to more traditional and avant-garde genres and involved them as well. So, as you can see, as I mentioned, it's a very colorful book. His work was very colorful, had a lot of splash to it. And this is a great way to celebrate his legacy, as well as show what the project entailed. Let's go through it. It's quite a treat. There's some really wonderful pieces of work that he had done. And the neat thing is that the art is all in a particular format, so you can see that it wasn't left on the trains. It was something that he called mobile graffiti, and also fourth dimensional art, because the art could disappear. He would take it with him. He'd do a pop-up gallery on a train or a bus, or even on the station, and then he would just go away and take the art with him. That's where the Phantom part comes in. But you can see been going through this. So this is the original edition that was released in 2021. And it's about 217 pages. You can see how it's reproduced. This was pretty popular, it still is. But I realized that to reach out to a larger audience, I really had to figure out a way to reduce the price, and the print-on-demand model, this is a print-on-demand book, it's difficult to get the pricing down for a book of this quality and color. So Amazon offers a new process that they call standard color, and I wanted to take advantage of that and see if I could produce the book in an acceptable format, so I ordered a proof. So I'll get to that in a minute. I just wanted to go through a couple of these to give you an idea. Also, the book has a complete index and photographs, and it's a pretty comprehensive catalog of the works. So this is the original edition. It has the Mitef Enterprises imprint, and that's the cover. It's glossy paperback. Now I ordered a proof so I can make a decision on the Amazon product under standard color. So I called it the standard color edition. It's saying that's a proof, but the final version won't have that on it, obviously. But you can see it'll say second edition. There'll be a different imprint. It'll just be an imprint that has like a stylized M on it. And as you can see, they're virtually identical as far as the exterior goes, except for the standard color edition and saying standard color edition here. Now, when you start to open it though, the paper's different. The paper is more of it's not a glossy texture. It feels like paper you'd see in a paperback. And you can see the technology they use is an inkjet-based technology. And it certainly has a different feel. The pages are slightly lighter, but it's certainly not, it's a nice feel to it. And I actually have to say I was pretty impressed. I knew it was important to get a proof to see if the quality was there. I was worried about streaks or modeling on the pages, or the pages would be unusually warped, by absorbing the ink. But you can see the colors are relatively faithfully reproduced. The blacks aren't as black, but they are black. I'd say it's a little less contrast to the image, but what's interesting is that it really worked out pretty well. I was impressed. And as you can see, I will just go through it a bit more, and then I'll try doing some comparisons side by side so that you can see the difference. If I didn't have the other book to look at first, and had gotten this, I would think, oh, this is just a different way of printing. The primary difference is that the pages aren't glossy, and if it wasn't for that, I would just thought, oh, okay. Once again, the content is identical, other than mentioning the standard color edition. The final version will say standard color in the front. As I mentioned before, this is the proof. Okay, let's do some side-by-side comparisons. Let's look at page 135. Here's page 135, and as you can see, they really are quite similar. The image just has a little bit less contrast. It's not as dark. And if we go to, here's page 111 and 111. You can see there is some difference, but if considering the price difference, it comes in at a price point that makes it reasonable for teenagers, people on a budget, people that just want a quick reference material for the InstaFame Phantom Art collection. It's certainly a considerable savings, $34.99 versus $19.99. I've reduced the price quite a bit because I'd like to see it in more people's hands, and so they'd have my brother's story. It's a great way to preserve his legacy and also to promote the project. I'm hoping to get the next volumes out. The next volumes will be with collaborative works with the other artists, and also the solo work of a number of artists, including more of my brother's work. He did a lot of other work from 2014 to 2020, which is quite different in character also, and that'll be a fascinating volume to work on. So I just wanted this is the standard color edition and what's really the original version, which I'm calling the premium color. This will only be available on Amazon. The standard color edition will only be available at Amazon. The original version will also be available at Amazon, but also at other retailers as well. So there you have it. Certainly this is also a good example of the process technology as well, if you're interested in producing books in either fashion. All right, thank you for watching and supporting the project. Take care. Bye-bye.